He is back, but so am I. So Gotham Chess has just come out with a video on this gambit, and now everybody you know will start playing it. How do you use this to your advantage is be prepared so that every player who plays this against you, which will be a lot of players, you can defeat them right in the opening. d4, e5, d takes e5. You capture this free pawn, and now knight c6, knight f3, and now queen e7. So this is what Levy recommends, and you will face this a lot in the coming days and weeks and probably months, because Levy has a huge following and a lot of players will play this against you. So what do you play here? Well, we play the classic move, the very hidden idea here of bishop to g5. And when black plays the most obvious move, played almost exclusively in this position, that is queen b4, to play the developing move, knight to c3. If black does not capture the pawn, you are just a pawn up, so he takes the pawn. And now you come back bishop d2. And now we reach the exact position which Levy considered in his video. But here he mentioned two moves. The first one being knight b4, where he himself said this.
If they guard with the knight, then white is just close to winning here.
So after knight d4, white is clearly winning. That's absolutely clear. And the second move that he mentioned, which was his main line, was bishop b4. And here rook b1, black plays queen a3, rook b3, queen a5. And now in his practice games against his subscribers, two of the opponents played e3, which is not really the best idea for white here. White should immediately play the move a3. So after a3, black is in a very difficult choice here. Either he can take this pawn, but then he will be in for a world of trouble after a move like rook b5, queen a6, and e4. You can see how this queen is feeling right now. I can't even imagine, for example, b6, rook b3, and this bishop is hanging, this queen is attacked. And if you play, for example, a move like queen a5, trying to protect your lame bishop, well, knight d5, and I don't know whether black will lose a rook first or whether he will lose his queen. So that is the only question left in this game. So that is definitely not a choice for black, and we come back to this position. And that is why in this position, well, of course, if a passive move like bishop e7 is played, you play the move knight to b5, queen b6, and then e4, developing, and black does not even have any material for all of this. Knight d6 check is coming up. In fact, you could have played it immediately, winning the queen, but e4 is even better, trying to do it next move, and black is completely lost. So we come back. And here the only move for black, as mentioned by Levy, is bishop takes c3. And now you capture with the bishop. And now queen c5. And let us look at the position. In this position, you can clearly see white has more pieces developed. 1, 2, and 3. Even the rook is in the game. Black only has one knight developed, and the queen is not really a developed piece here. It will later on lose a few tempi after white plays e3, queen d2, for example, rook b5, and will have to move again to a safer square, for example, to e7. Then white has the two bishops. Black does not have that luxury. For example, let's play the most obvious move, e3, knight e7, following the plan Levy played in his practice games. Now you play bishop d3, just developing your bishops. Look at these two bishops towards the king side. I wouldn't want to be black here. If you play the move knight g6, white just castles, giving up this pawn. Knight takes, knight takes, knight takes. And now bishop to e2. White has the two bishops and he will launch a fierce attack on black. d6. You can already play moves like f4, not even caring about queen e3 because just king h1. Now what does black play? For example, knight c6, knight g6, choose your pick here. Then bishop takes g7. And you can see clearly there are too many threats. So let's say knight c6. And now bishop g7. Now the rook protects the pawn. So rook g8. And now bishop to d4. And I don't know why anybody on the planet would like to play this position. So for example, let's say queen a5, trying to keep the queen away from any sort of attack. Bishop f3 or even c4. Both of these moves look amazingly well for white. And black does not have a single pawn for this. You can look at his king in the center. He can't develop this bishop. Rook e1 check is coming. And I would not like to be black here. He can't castle on the king side. These are weaknesses. So let's go back. Actually, after knight e7, bishop d3, to just castle and safeten up his king. And he can try to capture this pawn later without trying to give white the option of bishop takes g7. But you are in for a surprise here. I'm going to ask you to pause your video and even find the correct move for white here. Try to find it. It's plus minus 9 for white here. He might feel black that he has done a great job, but white is winning by force. So white plays the spectacular move. And no surprises here. Greek gift sacrifice with bishop takes h7, king takes h7, knight g5. And if black plays king g8, queen h5 is leading to immediate mate. If he tries to come to g6, we play the move knight e4, attacking the queen and preparing queen g4. And there is no defense. In fact, the Indian's best move here is a move like d6, giving up the queen. And if, for example, black goes to h6, his last defense, then we play the queen to g4, preparing queen h4, and there is no defense for black. For example, knight e5, we play queen h4, king g6, queen h7, king g5, and now the simple move, bishop takes e5, because as you have probably seen, black cannot capture this because of the move f4. And when have you seen this? A fork between the king and the queen with a pawn. And this is the reality of this gambit. The natural moves that black has lead to a worse position for him. So there is absolutely no way that you can get away with this as black. So guys, if you're here for the first time, do hit that like button. It helps us to come up with the videos every day. And if you like the content, do subscribe to the channel. We'll be back next day. See you soon.